Let's rewind the clocks back to February of this year. What if I told you of a game where you could hunt machines with primitive weapons, just incredible gameplay, a fantastic protagonist, and uncover an amazing story with your team of friends about the history of the old ones, and save the world? The only problem is that Elden Ring comes out next week. Yeah, I wonder which game was given the spotlight. So yeah, if you didn't know, Elden Ring was released on Feb 25th of this year, and in the same month, Horizon Forbidden West and Dying Light 2 were also released, Forbidden West on the 18th and Dying Light 2 on the 4th. Now, I could only play one of these games before Elden Ring took over my channel for a few weeks, and then some, and since Dying Light 2 gave me about 20 days to play it, I decided to opt for that one. It was a glitchy mess, had a mediocre story, but it was a lot of fun because parkour. And Forbidden West, I really did want to try out, but over time, it was put on the back burner as Elden Ring became more popular, other games started to come out, so I never found time for it. However, in a moment of reprieve, where there was no other new games coming out, I finally decided to try the first game, Zero Dawn, and it was pretty good. I mainly played through the story just to get to the second game, only then really exploring the open world. Now, Forbidden West was a phenomenal experience, definitely in my top 20 favorite games of all time. The setting for this game is one that I highly respect. The idea of combining both primitive tribes and futuristic technology is ingenious. It creates this very interesting dynamic of primal man and machines that no other game has done, as far as what I've played. And yeah, everything about this game was good. There wasn't a major issue that I can point out. Some minor inconveniences, yeah, but I was addicted for the past month regardless of any small flaws the game had. So, let's get into it. Without further ado, my name is Josh, and here are my thoughts on Horizon Forbidden West, the masterpiece overshadowed by Elden Ring. The story of Forbidden West revolves around Aloy, a Nora outcast who saved the world from a previous threat called Hades in the first game, a rogue AI that was meant to be a part of Gaia, a superior artificial intelligence with subordinate functions to help rebuild a dying world, such as Poseidon, who is in charge of filtering clean water, Demeter, who is in charge of agriculture, and so on. In Forbidden West, Aloy continues her journey 6 months later to find a backup of Gaia, so that she can repair the deteriorating biosphere. It also makes sense Gaia looks the way she does because the most nurturing people I've met were older black ladies. However, many challenges block her path, such as Hephaestus, another self-aware AI with the power to create machines, one of the strongest components of Gaia. Other challenges include the political struggle between the tribes, this mad chick, my addiction with Machine Strike, and the powerful Far Zeniths, a group of the Old Ones, who have survived in space for centuries and have basically gained physical immortality through their armor and science stuff. Now, this is a very basic outline of what's going on. I'm not gonna get into the whole Aloy's a clone of a scientist from 1,000 years ago, but let me tell you, it's a superb story. Not only is the concept crazy good, but the execution is not bad either. Let me start by saying that I love Aloy as a character. I am getting tired of having a silent protagonist say literally nothing throughout the entire game and simply just grunt like an anime character who dropped his hat. Okay, this one makes sense though. Aloy has personality, you know? She's sarcastic, determined, and she's a lone wolf, a flaw that comes from her being outcasted as a child, which they developed in a nice way throughout the story as she finally lets others help her by letting them sit at the base doing nothing. And let's actually talk about the other characters for a minute. Erend and Varl are two friends of Aloy from the first game who have been of great help not only in saving the world, but helping Aloy come out of her shell. Erend is this big, brawn guy who is prideful and yet he's loyal, he's trustworthy, and will do anything to help Aloy complete her mission. Varl is from the same tribe as Aloy, an encouragement to her, the bridge between her and other people who just want to simply help. I really like these two characters. It's hard to make side characters more than something to simply aid you on your journey, and to provide the most minimal backup during a fight. Most of the time, they're there to just help push the story only, which leaves them surface-based and bland. In Forbidden West, most of the other characters are kinda in the middle, if you ask me. You meet them on the way to do something, or they're occupying a space that you need to enter, which is near their home tribe. You're given a backstory, you solve the issue with them, and boom, now they're a part of the squad. Like, I've seen it before, so it's not like a unique interaction. Just know that I like the characters, but there is no emotional attachment. Like, if they die, I don't care. Especially you, I find you annoying. Regardless, even the side characters, those who are simply like a pit stop, are kind of intriguing and they do their part well, which is to pop on stage for a minute and pop out. I found myself enjoying their dialogue and interactions with Aloy. It's simply unfair to give them more depth because Erend and Varl already went through this phase in the first game, so it makes sense why they're more developed. Which is why when Varl died, I was actually kinda sad about it. Spoiler alert, by the way. I guess I should have said that beforehand. But yeah, like his death wasn't cool with me, and that's a way of letting me know that he was a good character, or at least well developed. A neat little touch that really made me smile is that Erend approaches Aloy and tells her about his and Varl's game of Machine Strike that they can't finish now because, well, he's dead. So you finish the game in Varl's place. It was a nice emotional moment. That is, until I completely wrecked him because I'm the machine striking master! But yeah, those two characters specifically are my favorite of the bunch. Besides Aloy, of course, she's fantastic. Her interactions with other characters are either well done or they're priceless.
And so at daybreak...
Hey! Shh. Down the valley then? So, there's an ancient city under the sand, but it's flooded.
Suddenly a Norse spear maiden appeared.
Yeah, okay,
A character that can make me laugh immediately shoots up in the ranks every single time, and it's those little moments that make the immersion better. Funny enough, one of my favorite lines in the game is from Eric, a Far Zenith, who says,
I snap a lot of necks in VR.
And it's hilarious because people who play VR are exactly like that. They really capture the emotions very well too, like the graphics are just beautiful, just kind of a side note. But yeah, I do like the story. It was engaging, had many twists and turns, and I was always excited to advance the story. I just gotta exhaust all this dialogue first. Yeah, I feel like there's a bit too much dialogue in this game. Like, if you expect a lot of dialogue, that's fine, especially if it's a story-based game, The Last of Us, Edith Finch. But this is an open-world game. Just shut up. Let me explore, please. I still enjoyed the conversations, though. However, what I think is even more enjoyable in Forbidden West is none other than the gameplay. Let me start off by saying that Machine Strike is my favorite minigame in games. It's like chess, but much more complex, and I love board games, so this really tickles my fancy. The entire biosphere is about to break down, killing off the entire Earth. But if I see that Machine Strike logo, you best know that takes priority. I collected all the pieces too because being a nerd in-game is something truly special. That aside, we can get into the actual gameplay, which is phenomenal to say the least. Fighting the machines in Forbidden West is more complex than I initially thought. Every single machine has multiple components that can be shot off or used to your advantage, not to mention that the parts you shoot off can be collected for crafting weapons or armor, or machine strike pieces. It's a very clever mechanic because it gives you something to focus on during the fight. When I fight the Thunderjaw, my main priority are the disc launchers on its back because it hinders its full power, and I can even pick up those launchers and use it against the very machine that harbored it. How cool is that? I'll answer that question. It's very cool. Every machine has a weak point, but every machine's vital spot is different from the last, some of them having canisters that when shot with the appropriate element, cause an explosion. No machine is the same, so your strategy for each one is a bit different, and even then, there's no one way to take them down. You can set up traps, melee up close, shoot from afar, or even override some of them to fight for you. Personally, I like to use the bolt blasters to completely annihilate any and all of my enemies before me. That is, of course, until I run out of ammo. Let's not forget that there are plenty of weapons in the game. I have a variety of bows, spears, slingers, down to my toes. We got spike throwers, trip casters, and a bolt blaster that can kill machines so much faster. There's a skill tree with undeniable versatility that makes Aloy a foe with major hostility. The gameplay never got boring, and as a matter of fact, I needed more footage for this video, and I was ecstatic to visit this game again. And that's the last piece of footage I needed. Besides the core gameplay, there are also like relic puzzles sprinkled throughout the open world, cauldrons to access codes for more machine overrides, but let me not fool you guys, alright? The heart of this game is hunting killer machines.
Yeah, those are all the clips I have. I do have a Patreon if you want to subscribe to that.
Something else that I had written down when playing the game, I usually take notes when I'm playing a game for the first time, and it says that games should always have a photo mode, and I agree with myself. Photo mode is a simple yet great aspect to any game that allows artsy people like myself to create amazing wallpapers, and it also helps with the thumbnails as well. Plus, you can mess around and have fun with the poses, filters, facial. Whoa, okay, hold on. That is terrifying. Let's just move on, because that is making me uncomfortable. Something that I hold at high value for a game is its DNA, its uniqueness. How is this specific game going to stand out from the rest? What does it provide that will allow me to remember this experience? I've played many games, so you have to impress me, Forbidden West. Alright, well, that'll do it. Forbidden West is unique not in its story. Aloy is pretty much a 21st century cowboy, but in its setting, the aesthetics of the world. Again, I'm just blown away by the idea of primitive tribes and self-aware machines all living together in the same world. When you explore, you find these tribes made up of loosely built wood or structures, but these cauldrons or old buildings have a higher technology and intellect behind it. The theme of contrast or juxtaposition was very prominent when I was playing the game, and I really enjoyed that. I also love this mix between religion and machines. Everyone but Aloy views the machines or old structures as gods, and it's really fascinating to see the difference between them and Aloy. Aloy knows they're simply just machines, creations of Gaia. However, these tribes don't know better and have taken these artifacts, large machines, and started to praise them. Some tribes, like the one Zoe is from, have even given names to these machines and treated them like royalty. And I've always loved religious imagery, and to see it in this form is very fascinating. I've never seen it like this. And I dove very deep into the whole of cults when it comes to this game, and I think that's one of my favorite aspects about Forbidden West. But if there's one thing I'll remember about Forbidden West, it's the machines and what relations these people have to them, whether it may be Aloy herself or the tribes, and that's a great piece of DNA to have. Unfortunately, no game is perfect, and Forbidden West does have some flaws that I have to point out. While the story's setting is great, it's fantastic, the plot itself, I've heard this story many times before. You need to collect 3 to 5 things in different places so that you can explore the entire map that we created for this game. Don't get me wrong, I did enjoy the plot. It has its moments that made me smile and engaged, and overall I think it's good, but I can't deny that it feels like I've done this in every other open world game I've ever played. Open world games sort of fall into that pit where you have to gather or collect something as a part of the main objective, so the familiarity is a flaw for me. In Breath of the Wild, you have to go gather the 4 divine beasts. Far Cry 3, you have to go gather your friends and escape the island. Elden Ring, you have to go gather the great runes in order to mend the Elden Ring again. It's not really a huge flaw, because every story is different, obviously. It's just that the pattern and the pacing is the same. And I will say though, the ending was a bit strange too. It's the same as the first game, where there's another bigger threat looming over our characters, so we have to, prepare and save the world again. It's a cliffhanger, you just kind of have to wait for the 3rd game now, which I will wait for it, I'm excited, but I don't like cliffhangers, so... Some parts of the story were also unnecessary, like the beginning where Avad is saying, I like you, Aloy. Do you want to have sex? It just makes no sense. Like, it's never explored even, so why have it in the game in the first place? And besides Aaron and Varl, I had no desire to really connect with the other characters. They all had a similar sob story or a tragic thing that happened, so it all meshes together in my head. And even after playing the game, I struggled to barely remember some of their names. What's your name? Katalo? Oh, that actually is his name. Okay, well at least I remember one. And gameplay-wise, I actually don't really have any issues. I was gonna say that everything did so much damage for their level, but then I realized I was fighting machines that were at least 10 levels above me, so that kind of checks out. Besides that, there are really no major flaws that I can really point out. But overall, Forbidden West was a lovely experience. It was an excellent sequel that improved many of the impurities the first one had. I really enjoyed what the story brought, I really did, and even more, I enjoyed the setting and the gameplay. But with that, here's my rating. I'm gonna give the story an 8, the gameplay a 9, the aesthetics a 9, the open world aspect a solid 7.5, and the music/sound design an 8. That leaves Forbidden West at 87%, and I think that is a solid score for this game. If you played this game as well, let me know your thoughts about it. I will be more than happy to read your comments about it. And yeah, if you've made it to the end of the video, thanks, I appreciate it. And if you're still watching somehow, I do have a Patreon if you do want to support me on there. If you don't, that's completely fine. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and of course, if you did enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like and to subscribe for more content like this. and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everyone, and of course, stay safe.